Alright guys, so we'll be getting our first two FR Echoes in a couple of days, and they are Terra and Garnet. Fortunately, I do have their kit on my JP account, so I'm able to actually demonstrate how we should use Echoes and basically if Garnet and Terra is worth pulling for. So in my previous video about FR Echoes, link in description below, basically, to make it simple, FR Echoes means that you can use an FR during an FR phase, and when you use FR Echoes, it will not consume the FR turn. And depending on the main FR, meaning that, let's say if you use Penelo's FR, you activate Penelo's FR, so the condition for HP DMG Bonus will be based on Penelo's. So if you use Garnet's FR Echoes, after you have activated Penelo, you'll be able to get 70% because Penelo just requires the party to have buff and battery, right? So Garnet will be able to fulfill the condition, battery and HP regen. So Garnet will be able to fulfill all the condition and gain 70%. But on top of that, because you are using FR Echoes, you get an additional of 20%. So total of 90%, right? So in that situation, there are two strategies here that I want to discuss on how to use FR Echoes, which is first, since they can increase the HP damage bonus pretty fast, they sometimes are used in a situation where you blast all your Echoes at the start, and once you get to like 700, 800 or 900 HP damage bonus, you enter the BT phase. Okay, then you deal as much damage as you could. Another way is that if your BT phase doesn't deal that much damage technically, you can use your BT phase early, or you don't even enter the BT phase at all. Then you build up your HP damage bonus as you would now in GL. Okay, then when it gets to like maybe 700 or 800, then you start blasting your FR Echoes. Generally, FR Echoes, they have additional 250% max brave cap up, so they generally hit harder than most of your skill. So do consider doing that. And basically in my demonstration here, I have two set of run. The first is that I use Garnet's FR Echoes, and then I do not use Terra's Echoes yet. I hawk Terra's turn, so I'm using her LD, S1, LD and things like that. And after, when I hit 999%, I enter summon phase, and then I use Terra's Echoes. The reason I do that for Terra specifically is that she has a very strong echo because her FR hits for 5 HP dumps compared to most FR, which is 4 and some is 3. So she really do hit very hard, so it's better to actually keep her FR until you get 99% and then you blast it. Okay, another version that I did was right after I used Garnet's FR, I used Terra's FR. So I increased the HP damage bonus to a very high level, then after that I start spamming S1 and LDs until the end of the fight. So you can see that there is a damage difference in two different modes, and basically you can use this as a reference. But I would generally say if you have Echoes that have a lot of HP dumps, then consider using it at the end. If you do not have that, then consider using it at the start or somewhere in the middle, like before you enter the BT phase and to get out all the damage. Or if you are using a character that have just very strong BT phase, like Sid Reigns. If you use Sid Reigns, each turn during his BT phase he will be dealing a lot of damage, so it's wise to actually wait it out. Okay, use all your Echoes and then wait it, and then enter the BT phase and deal as much damage as possible. Alright, so for this setup, you can see here I use Luna Freya's LDCA in order to give Terra 3 turns, and then to give Rosa 3 turns, and now Rosa uses her BT. In order to replicate what we would do for Penelo, right, this is a similar setup. So let's say Penelo uses her BT, and then Penelo uses her FR. So now Rosa is using her FR. And before passing turn to Garnet, I would actually suggest to supercharge maybe 2 or 3 turns, because if we can get the HP damage bonus a little bit higher when passing on, it is actually better in terms of the overall damage that you do. So you can consider by doing this, where you can see that here I supercharge for I think 2 turns, right, to get it to 379%. Then I use one of Rosa attack to get it up over to 400+% before I pass it on to Garnet to use her FR Echoes. One thing I would like to point out here is actually Lunar Freya LDCA is actually a perfect call to be used during Echoes because it gives the other character 2 turns just for them to use Echoes. So if you don't have a FR that is instant turn, you can use Lunar Freya's call and make everyone have instant turn FR technically, right? So here we have Garnet use FR Echoes, then FR Echoes. So you can see that the number of turns is still 7, but now the HP damage bonus has increased to 654. So now entering Terra's turn, use LD. Just now I use the EX, I use LD, then I'll be blasting on S1, and then back to LD until I have 1 turn left. Okay, do not use the last turn before you start using Echoes because once it hits 0, then you are out of FR phase. So now I'll be hitting the enemy until I have 1 turn left, then I will blast them with Terra's FR Echoes. Alright, so LD 9 million. Right, enter Ramu because I already hit 999%, so might as well. So technically during summon we also get increase in HP damage cap up, so yeah, it's just better to do this, right? So you can see here each HP dump is about 5 million, so Terra can do 36 plus 26, that's like 62 million, and when I do it twice, okay, that's over 100 million just from Terra's FR Echoes. Okay, one thing to note is that Terra technically has a instant turn FR, so actually I really like characters that have instant turn FR, especially when you want to use them as Echoes. So for me, I would definitely pull for Terra, and I will definitely mess her out. Alright, so in this second run, it's the same setup as the previous one. Using Rosa to replicate what Penelo does. Just for a pointer here, Rosa has generic condition as well. Penelo is 70%, Rosa is 75%. And the thing with Penelo is that she has, I believe, higher HP damage limit up with her armor and also her BT effect. And in addition to that, Penelo will have a head start in the HP damage bonus because other characters start with 120, Penelo start with 150. Okay, so in that situation, I would really say Rosa and Penelo in this setup will be very similar. So if you use Penelo, it will not be much of a difference. And also I forgot to specify is that in this stage I use this is a Lightning intertwined wheel, and we just have that in JP like last month. So you can see that even Terra and Garnet is actually still relevant. They can still clear content even up until Lightning's intertwined wheel. However, in FR Echoes era, there will be some of the fight that is technically way harder than the other fights, and they usually revolve around what we call as HP gates, right? So if you do not meet a certain condition, you cannot deal damage to the enemy anymore until you have met a certain condition. So this gate kind of hinders a certain form of play. We got to play around it, we got to plan around it, so that is something to be aware of, right? Anyway, in this setup, I've used Garnet's FR earlier, and now I'm just spamming skills, S1, LDs, and things like that. So you can see that the damage is slightly different. The other fight, I managed to bring all the enemy at 1% at the end and actually kills them. But you can see here, this is the final FR turn, and I failed to kill the enemy. They still have 2 and 4% left. So that shows the difference if you use FR Echoes early or FR Echoes late. The difference technically is not that big of a difference, so if you play kind of like sloppily and do some mistake here and there, do not worry about it. You will still be able to clear content. But just to note that if an FR has really high HP dumps like Terra's, do use it at the end instead of the front. Okay, I mean instead of the beginning. Alright, so I hope this gives some insight on what form of strategies that you can use during FR Echoes era, and hope you enjoy the game. Thank you.